If you watched this full innings and if you are now watching Cricbuzz Live, give yourself a pat on the back. That innings lasted 3.5 hours. Well done. Welcome to watching the world of watching ODI cricket. And before we talk about the cricket, we also have a stock market expert who's an expert in telling the world where to invest. Sir, how do you manage to get things so right?
342.
Yes.
It's just one of those things, you know.
Yeah, he won by 1 run. 341, I would have.
He won by
That's
340.
1 run. One.
Look, he's been investing in a lot of companies these days. He knows exactly who to bet on is not wrong expression, right? You can say it.
No.
Who to count on is better.
Yeah, who to count on. Sir, कैसे?
बहुत अच्छा शब्द है हिंदी में उसके लिए. Not काबिलियत.
TUKKA. लेकिन भाई जो बाबर आजम ने किया वो तुक्का बिल्कुल नहीं था.
It's not a complete tukka.
Not really.
No, it's not a complete tukka.
Part guess, part
Yeah,
hunch.
saying this is what a good side against that attack on a good track should get. And keeping in mind the fact that Pakistan always starts slowly, finish big, they like individual targets. So yeah.
342 it is for Pakistan on the board. At one stage, though, it looked like Nepal might surprise us when two quick wickets fell, and then an 86-run partnership for the third wicket. Babar Azam was there. A couple of fantastic fielding moments from Nepal, a drop catch as well. So much happened from Nepal's point of view. But Babar Azam scoring his 19th ODI 100, now just one shot of the highest century maker for Pakistan, Saeed Anwar, with 20 hundreds, is right on top. The word Azam means greatest. This guy clearly on the path to greatness.
No, definitely. And I think today also the way he played, of course, he gave a chance, and that cotton bowled at, I think what, it was a 29th over,
50 or 50
yeah.
to 53 thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah. And that could have been crucial as well, because remember, Iftikhar played a fantastic innings, but he had that steadying side on that side. So yes, it made a huge difference, but that's the thing with somebody like a Babar Azam. Once he gets that opportunity, he makes full use of it. He's not going to, after that, he's not going to throw it away till it became a situation where in the end they were just slogging in. That acceleration, Harsha, was absolutely sensational.
You know, at no point did I think there was a contest between bat and ball. So Babar Azam, to some extent Iftikhar, but Babar Azam was determining how many he was going to score. I don't think the bowling was determining how many he was going to score. So he felt like batting at a certain pace, he batted at a certain pace. Then he said, right, I've got to 90, I'm going to get that 100. I like hundreds. Babar Azam likes hundreds. People like watches. Other people like shoes. Babar Azam likes hundreds. And there's no shame in liking hundreds. So he got his 100. And then he said, right, now let me have some fun. And he hit, what, 3 sixes in a row for the first time ever?
Career, yes.
But even when he was hitting those 3 sixes, it almost seemed as if he was saying, "Acha ball, kahan jana hai aapko? Acha, chalo wahan jao." So he controlled the play. So my gut feel is if they could actually have scored more. And so Nepal, I like that attitude early on. But in the second half of the innings, they were at the mercy of what Pakistan wanted to do. Pakistan did what they could have done.
A strike rate of 88, Joy, and then he finishes with a strike rate of 231. Clearly shows that Babar Express has all kinds of gears.
All gears, but very interesting. Go have a look at it. 61 to 80, he's already up to 166.6. Then he slows down, picks up his 100, which is a very subcontinental thing. And then again, he starts accelerating. But look, this is something, again, we have this school in the West to say that, stats should mean nothing. My point is, in a match like this, okay, where he knows he's in control of the match and he can pull it on and off, in a match which was tighter, you would have looked at that and said, perhaps you don't want to see that chart. Yeah. On a match like this, I think he's just saying, okay, let me just finish this off and then let me get on with it.
Actually, sometimes when you can do what you want, that is when you tend to drop your guard a little bit. And I think the importance of innings like these is he didn't drop his guard, but he was just in complete control. He was like, sometimes you're in control of your own destiny. He's playing against bowlers that he knows are not in his league. They can try hard, but they're not in his league at the moment. In the form that he's in, that bowling is not in his league. So he can do what he wants. And you could see that as soon as he got to his 100, he actually played 2 shots that when he looks back, it'll be like an artist when he looks back and says, "Sachmuch ye painting maine kiya tha." I hope no one saw it. Because he played 2 or 3 ugly shots, and he never plays ugly shots. But he was now hiking. He was now hitting hard. Babar never hits the ball hard. Yeah. He was trying to hit the ball hard, he was trying to slog, because he was now liberated.
There are those on social media or otherwise who might look at the way he got to the 100 from 90. Can that be held against him?
No. No, because in a game like this, he has paced himself so well. You look at that and say, yes, he loves hundreds. Did his love for the 100 come in the way of the team? That is what you look at. Did the team fall 15 runs short, 18 runs short, 20 runs short? Maybe the team fell 10 short. But between 340, between 350 or whatever millions they got, 342, 350, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So where your individual performance does not impact the team requirement, it is okay. If your individual performance starts to come in the way of what the team needs, then you're in trouble. And I don't think that happened today. It has happened before in T20 cricket more than once, but it didn't happen today.
So it seems to be the Babar template, take your time and then perhaps if possible accelerate towards the end. But we can't not talk about Iftikhar Ahmed's innings of 109 not out of 71. He was bludgeoning the ball. He was toying with the attack.
Again, he was bludgeoning the ball. He had that stability. That first partnership had happened with Rizwan. So there was a certain number of runs when he comes in. As Salman Agar gets out fast. But then what he's also had is, remember, again, we're talking about Pakistan. What's the big problem? Runs don't grow in the shade, just like trees. So 1, 2 and 3 normally score so many runs that you don't have time in the bottom order to bat. Which is why somebody of the talent of Iftikhar, I was just looking at it and I was really surprised that this is his first ODI century.
Wow.
But the fact of it is, you don't get to bat very much. If you're batting at 6 for Pakistan, you don't get that many opportunities. Not with the top 3 you have now. So when he's got this opportunity, and it does not matter what the attack is. It's his first one-day international century. It's really special. And look at the rate at which he scored. Because he kept attacking throughout. So even when Babar had slowed down a bit, he continuously was on the onslaught.
Took the pressure off, didn't he?
I'm just trying to run back and trying to see where he was when he, say, his first 20 balls. I think he was run a ball. I'm trying to see how far he was run a ball. He was 16 of 19. If you go further, he's 34 of 30. He's 30 of 30 balls. From 30 of 30 balls, he has made 109 of 71. Right? Which means his last 70 runs, 75 runs have come in 40 balls. That is what India want at the end from Sky. The reason India wants Sky is that Iftikhar has this explosive ability at the end. Can Sky control the last 15 overs? The way Iftikhar did today. I know he did it against Nepal, he did it against inexperienced bowling. That was a bit lost as the game went along. But you see why India want a player like that.
Now that you've mentioned India, the last World Cup, Indian fans look back and say, no, we didn't have a number 4. This time, look, once again, there's trouble. There's a lot of chat about number 4 and number 5. There's a bit of a quote that has been attributed to Rahul Dravid. Let's read it. I could have told you 18, 19 months ago who would have been the candidates that we're looking at for 4 and 5 that we're looking for the World Cup. It was always going to be between Shreyas, KL and Rishabh. How do you react to that?
And we could have picked this Indian side really 12 months ago. In the last 12 months, who has come into this Indian side that you did not believe would have made the World Cup side 12 months ago? To some extent, you can say that about Shubman Gill. But Shubman Gill in the last 12 months, in the last 7-8 months, has done some incredible things. I saw some people saying, but he's now going through a bad patch. Hang on, 3 or 4 innings. He's got a double 100, he's got 100, he had the IPL ablaze. He's perfectly made to play 50 overs cricket. So Rohit is always going to be in your side, Shubman is always going to be in your side, Virat is always going to be in your side. Hardik, Jadeja, Bumrah, Siraj, Shami, they're always going to be. You could have picked this team 12 months ago. So what Rahul is saying is, at that position, it was always going to be Shreyas at 4, KL at 5, the moment you knew Rishabh was not going to be available. Otherwise, it was always going to be Shreyas at 4, Rishabh at 5 or KL fighting with Shreyas for number 4. So you could have picked this team long ago. So in effect, he's saying they got injured, so we had to look for somebody else. Otherwise, we knew who was going to bat at that number.
Should the Indian fan be worried?
Tough. Look, again, what are the odds that Shreyas, all 3 of them get injured? What are the odds? When Rahul is looking at it, he's saying, what are the odds all 3 get injured at the same time and in a situation where none of these? So you have had a situation where you think he's experimenting, but he's really had no choice because his first choice players have not been there. And therefore, he's had to be in a situation to do that. Actually, if you look at Shubman Gill, Harsha, Right now, he is the highest average. He has the highest average ODI average among all contemporary players. His ODI average is above 60. He's an incredible average. So when we are talking about Shubman Gill's slump, people have just forget that in the just about January, February, March, he was just tearing up everything that he saw.
Also remember, Rahul Dravid or the Indian selectors or the Indian captain don't know for sure when Shreyas and KL Rahul are going to be back, if they are going to be back. They also have to budget for the fact that those two may not be ready before the World Cup. We still don't know about KL Rahul. We know that the primary injury has healed, but there is a niggle somewhere. I think it was Javagal Srinath who told me long ago that when you come back from a bad injury, automatically you start to get a little worried, and muscles that have not taken the same load as before start to take a greater load, you get injured somewhere else. So if you don't know how fit those two are going to be, so you have to try and look for someone who suddenly, if you're told today, yeah, Manish Batavia has a bad stomach, someone else needs to anchor. But someone has to be there. So that, sorry, Joy. There's a little backstory to this, guys, so it's okay. So he had to check Tilak Verma, he had to check Sky, he had to check Sanju Samson. He had no choice but to check them out. So tomorrow, if you're told these two are not there, at least they've had 3, 4, 5 innings at that number.
So at what point does India say, okay, we waited enough? There's got to be a cutoff.
Yes.
If KL hasn't played enough, can you take that punt and put him in the World Cup squad?
If KL hasn't played a single ball till the World Cup team has to be announced, it'll be very hard on somebody else if KL Rahul is in that side. All logic says, look, based on his performance before he got injured, he was walking into that side. But today, can you say he's walking into that side? You don't know how rusty he is coming back. So I think it's only fair that he has a certain number of games. I think the current system is you announce a side, but you can make changes till the 28th, which means he's got 3 games before, he's got the 3 Australia games and a little bit of the Asia Cup. He's got 5 games to show that he is match fit. I don't think there's any worry about the fact that he's capable of batting there.
It's a tough one for Agarkar and Rohit Sharma, isn't it? Do you look at pedigree, past performance? Do you look at fitness, readiness, experience? There's so much to think of.
There's so much. Look, again, one of the things that India doesn't want to do first is they've tried Sanju, and for whatever reason they feel he doesn't work at this point in time. He's not immediately. Ishan Kishan has given them a little bit more. Now, here's your problem. Ishan's batting position is he has to open. Okay. Now, to solve 4, do you break up a very successful opening partnership? That's the conundrum that they have. Because if you have a player like Ishan, you go up front.
Yeah.
So they don't really want to take that chance and mess up with the rest of the batting order to solve 4. It's like saying that, okay, I've solved the number 4 position, but now I've made a mess of the opening batting order.
Who's been India's best opener since opening batter in ODI since Sachin Tendulkar?
Rohit Sharma.
So Rohit Sharma opens. Who's been the most informed opening batter for India in the last few months? Shubman Gill. So you don't mess with that. Those two are there, come what may, those two. Who's been one of the greatest number 3s in recent years? And I say recent years because Viv Richards batted at 3 as well, and Viv Richards was an all-time great. Virat Kohli is an all-time great in ODI cricket for sure, with no questions asked. He bats at number 3. I know ABS said he's capable of batting at number 4, but you're capable meaning if the team is in such a situation that you're not sure of 5, 6, 7, and you want number 4 to control you all the way through, then you ask Virat, will you bat at number 4? But if you've got Shreyas Iyer in form, if you've got KL batting well at that number, assuming he's come back and fit, and you've got Hardik Pandya and Ravindra Jadeja up to 7, then Virat Kohli bats at 3.
Lots to think about, lots to worry about as well.
I know, and there's Pakistan and Nepal also.
Exactly. Well, at number 3, you saw Babar Azam do what he did today, 151. At number 4, we saw Rizwan and that silly run out, which would have really angered Mr. Gavaskar. You've got to ground your bat.
It would have angered a lot of people more than anyone else. The Pakistan fielding coach, the Pakistan batting coach, that kind of running between the wickets is absolutely unexcusable. And even the other one, if you look at it, Inam was batting. He is the one who's called because the ball went, if you remember, to mid-off.
Yeah.
So it's his call. Your call, you're running, and you're about 1.5 feet of either your judgment is terrible or you're much slower than you think you are. And I'm not sure which one it is, but it's either one or the other. And I think those are the things out there. Today I was just looking at it and saying, it's very interesting. This is a sort of, it's like a patchwork game. Some great parts So, you have Babar, you have Iftikhar, some great parts. I thought Karan Casey bowled very well. Some brilliant fielding efforts. They are always hitting the stumps. But sometimes it seems as if the fielding coach, and I looked very hard for it because I'm not sure, probably Monty Desai is doing it himself. They've probably practiced hitting the stumps, but they're out fielding perhaps. They've not practiced as much.
Yeah, their fielding was... They should be disappointed with their fielding. As Joy said, 2 direct hits, 1 very good catch.
2 drop catches.
But overall, they should be disappointed with their fielding.
We got to talk about that reverse hit from Salman Agha. Is he singing that Salman Agha song? Dil ke arma aansuon mein beh gaye?
You wanted to bring that.
I had to say.
You wanted to bring that in.
फिल्मी कीड़ा सर.
देखो हमारे हैदराबाद में शूटिंग हुई थी मैं कुछ भी नहीं बोल रहा हमारे कॉलेज में हुई थी वो.
What was that shot?
You know, it's the kind of shot that when it comes off, you say, yeah, I mean, it's part of the modern vocabulary. It's part of a modern batter's vocabulary. That you will play both sides, you will play the sweep both sides. Some days it doesn't come off, and it doesn't come off, you look at it and say, what are you doing there? There's a fielder there. But when it comes off, it comes off. So I think it's a valid shot to play. He kept it, he hit it in the air, he couldn't keep it down.
But it would have looked a lot more embarrassing had Pakistan not finished the way they did. These mistakes do get highlighted a lot more, don't they?
Yeah, but I don't think you'd be making him stand in a corner for that. If that was a shot, I think Gary Kirsten used to say, did you mean to play it? If you meant to play it, that means your execution was wrong, your thinking wasn't wrong. So if you meant to play it and he played it, then you just practice it better so the next time you play it, you're not hitting it in the air.
Nepal would have learned a lot from this bowling performance. They looked alright. They seemed to be bowling within themselves, at least in the first half of the innings. They weren't doing too many funny things. They looked quite positive with most things.
I thought Karan was the pick of the bowlers because he at least kept the ball at a particular place. You have a look at it, the wicket he got also. He did what he needed to do with the ball. I think the rest, a lot of them got ambitious. And also when they started getting whacked around, they just totally lost their head. Like Gulshan, and I don't blame them. Gulshan is a 17-year-old kid. There are all these kids are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. So you're talking about a very inexperienced bowling attack who's going to learn a lot. And I think that's the way they have to look at it. There's no point turning around and saying, this is a situation, this is, how can they give away so many runs? This is finally playing, they are playing against the #1 one-day international side in the world. Okay, they've just come 8th in the qualifiers for a tournament where these guys are, according to the ICC rankings, the top position. So that's the gulf that separates these two teams. So they should look at it and say, see, the one thing, if you remember that when Zimbabwe came into international cricket, the one thing they did was they were a fantastic fielding side. Because fielding is the easiest skill to solve for. Because a lot of it depends on sheer practice and the effort that you're prepared to put in. So that's where I feel it's a bit disappointing. I feel the bowling, it's going to be like that. Inexperienced side against a top international team. There are times they're going to bowl a couple of really good deliveries. There are times that they're going to get hit. You're going to have bowlers that hold their nerve. The others, younger, perhaps they're losing their nerve more often. But overall, I'm not so disappointed that much with the bowling as I'd say with the fielding because that's something that's in their hands much more than the bowling.
Yeah, the modern game, if you're not fielding well, if you're not an athlete, you're not fielding well, it means you're not in touch with the modern game. I would go so far to say it means you're not ambitious enough because it is a non-negotiable. Being an athlete and being good in the field is today a non-negotiable. So if you're not focusing on your fielding and on your fitness, I don't think you're ambitious enough.
17 overs of spin after the 11 over mark. Did that allow Pakistan to sort of calm their nerves, saying, okay, this we can deal with easily? Not that the Pacers were very threatening,
they were going to score of anybody. It didn't matter. They were going to score. Once Babar and Iftikhar were set. That is Iftikhar's natural game. Don't forget. Iftikhar making 30 of 30 balls is Iftikhar trying to be someone that they want him to be. But the second half is who he actually is. So once those two were fit, to be honest, I didn't think it would have mattered. I think they would have got the same number of runs, irrespective of who bowled.
But we shouldn't jump the gun with Nepal because they're new. We've got to have a little more patience for them. They're a new side. Yeah. It's okay to see a couple of those no balls that we saw. These fielding lapses will happen.
Yeah, no, it will happen. Look, it will happen, but that's something that's in your hands to improve. Yeah. It's not so much. You're not going to get batting talent or bowling talent easily across the counter. 5 terrific international players won't happen. All these have taken long gestation periods. But what you can do in the meantime is make sure that your fielding is top class, which is how most international sides have made it. They've come there and they've thrown themselves at everything. And that's the only disappointment. And I'm not to say that they won't get better in the next few matches, because obviously they've been practicing something, because the way they've hit the stumps, perhaps they need to practice a few more drills, different drills, that's all. But this overall, as I said, look at who they're playing, and don't always put that in context.
What I'd like to see from Nepal, I think many, many years ago, I think Dav Watmore might have said it when he was coach of Bangladesh. You got to remember when you said Dav Watmore, coach of what?
He's also coached Nepal.
There you
Quite
go.
sure, he's also coached Nepal.
I think Dav Watmore looks at the map of Asia and ticks off, then he comes to India and ticks off states. But he's a good man. I know him well, so I'm Dav just pulling a leg. But I think he said when Bangladesh were coming up and struggling to win games, he said, right, is winning a game a strong possibility for us when you're playing against the best teams in the world? He said, what can we do? He said, you're not going to get us all out. We'll bat the 50 overs. You can't get us out. Because you cannot suddenly say, you know what, we're going to land up and beat Australia. Ashraful plays well, they beat Australia once in a while. But I think this was even before that. Saying, no, we will ensure that you will not get us out. So today, if Nepal says, you know what, we're going to hit 350, good on you, it might be a little beyond there. But you say, Haris Rauf is bowling, Naseem Shah is bowling, Shaheen Shah Afridi is bowling, but you're not going to go past us.
It can play on Pakistan's ego, isn't it? If they don't get a couple of quick wickets, it might.
It could. Look, I feel whatever the lessons here are probably going to be in Nepal's side. So if Pakistan don't get a couple of wickets, they'll bring their spinners on, they'll rotate it. It won't matter so much to them. But what Harsha is saying is very true. If these guys say we stood out, we batted 50 overs against one of the top bowling sides in the world, playing in their home conditions and with fearsome 150 kilometers per hour kind of bowlers, then we'll say, yes, all credit to us. And I think that's setting reasonable targets in situations like this is, I think, a great thing. What they don't want to do is turn around and say, we're going to smash it and get all out for 16, 15, 20 overs, you know.
Yeah, if I was Pakistan's coach, I'd say, does Babar Azam love hundreds? I'd say to Shaheen Afridi, does Babar Azam love hundreds? Does Shaheen Afridi love fifers? So now tell me, we have only 120 in the bank. Depends on how seriously they're taking this game. But if they're taking this game very seriously, they should tell themselves, we have 120 runs to defend. Let's go and win it.
Should they have this no mercy approach? Just go all out, or do they say, listen, we've got a
It
World
depends
Cup
on the
coming,
fitness
let's not
levels.
stretch ourselves too
It
much.
depends on the fitness levels. It depends on what they want out of the game. If they want Shaheen Shah Afridi to say, okay, I'll get 10 good overs in, but I don't want to get injured. I'm not going to go 100% today. I'm just going to see if I'm in good rhythm. That is what I want out of this game. It's like a sprinter in the heat.
Yeah.
A sprinter is not going 100% in the heat. So it depends on what they want out of this game.
Well, we'll see if Babar Azam, after having batted for so long, is going to experiment. Do they try new things? Do they try a few other bowling strategies that they might want to try at the World Cup? Is that something they should do?
Look, I completely agree with Harsha. It all depends on all these individual targets. So you might just see Shaheen Shah Afridi bowl 3-4 overs and say, okay, I'm feeling good, I'm fit, I'm out of here. Okay, I'm going to come in only if wickets are not being taken. So it all depends on how they want to play it. Or the coach might be saying, okay, everyone's fully fit. This is a World Cup full-fledged rehearsal. We go according to what it is, and we really go part by part by part. Every bowler, we do exactly the things that we'll be doing during the World Cup.
Yeah,
So another way of looking at it.
correct. The other way is, they say, okay, Iftikhar might be required to bowl. He's bowled in the past.
Yep.
Agha Salman were required to bowl. ठीक है, उनसे 4-4, 5-5 over. Let them get in with the idea of having to bowl in the bigger games, get them into rhythm. So they might adopt that. It entirely depends on what Pakistan want out of this second innings.
Let's pull up the Nepal 11. Let's once again take a look at these names that we hope to see more of in the months and years to come. Rohit Paudel, the captain, is one of their batting stars, will turn 21 on Saturday. There is also Kushal Malla, who's a big hitting batter. There is Kushal Bhogle, who has a reputation as well. Asif Sheikh as well. It is an opportunity because they know that talent scouts are watching, Joy.
Absolutely. Everyone's watching. Kushal, I think, got 71 in the crucial match against the UAE when they made it. Rohit Paudel is definitely looked as a prospect, playing now for playing since he is 15 years old. Kushal Malla has played, I think, T10 matches along with in Canada. So I think they've got talent out there. There's no doubt that there's talent out there. This is a big stage to show this talent in, and this is a really good bowling attack to show it. But go there. I'd love to see them go there and just, if not anything else, just hang on there and show that they belong in this stage. They don't need to win in this stage. Just to show we belong. We're good enough to play at this level.
Joy, you and I don't belong to this prediction game because we've got someone who...
I lost by 1 run. Hold on. Hold on. You're making it seem don't belong. This is like this is like saying New Zealand does not belong to playing World Cup cricket because they lost by 1 run to England.
A loss is a loss.
I'll stand up for him. Shadab Khan played 2 shots.
Okay.
He connected the first, didn't connect the second.
Sir, correction.
If you had,
I don't belong. So, gentlemen, please give me your predictions.
But you made 370. If Babar Azam had got that 100 3 overs before, you would have won.
What was that Sidhu line? Ifs and ands. What was that? Ifs and buts.
Were pots and pans?
Something like that.
If Inam had not followed his, uncle's great tradition, perhaps he would have got 370. Who knows?
They don't call it run in their family. They call it walk. Sorry. Haq saab, sorry. भाई goodbye बोले उससे पहले sir prediction पहले 10 over.
Some might sound harsh. I'm going 32 for 3.
I'm not going to give wickets, but I'll say because see, ball's going to fly around. So I'm going to say 41. Lots of lucky edges as well.
I'm going to say 50 for 4 because I want to have dinner at home. Sorry, Nepal. No, may it be a good contest. We'll be back at the 15 over mark with Cricbuzz Combox. It's 7:15 p.m. in India. Enjoy dinner with your family and make sure you come back and watch Cricbuzz Combox at the 15 over mark. Bye for now.